We have had a massive influx of repairs since the Port to Port, which has pushed our availability of repair spots out significantly. For those of you that do want to get out and enjoy the really nice weather that's come post-race, we understand that you're probably going to be riding a bike that is most likely in need of a service. But there's some things you can do at home which are going to give that bike that little bit of extra love and care in the interim period until you can bring it into drift, and we can take care of all of the other stuff for you. So after 4 days of competition, over 200 Ks of mountain bike racing, bikes do go through, well, to hell and back really. It's a very, very good idea to look at having your bike inspected and serviced to take care of anything that's made its way into the internal parts of your bike. The main things that we'll be focusing on when servicing people's bikes post-race is going to be the suspension of the bike first and foremost, headsets, bottom brackets, hubs, but also looking at often overlooked items of the bike such as spoke nipples, where water can be trapped between the rim strip and the spoke nipples themselves. I guess the key thing to remember with your bike is that clean does not necessarily mean service and inspected, but you can do a few of these little things at home which will just help reduce the amount of wear on the bike and just look after the bike in that interim period. Using your trusty can of fork juice, you can treat all of your suspension items. This is a really, really simple way of just keeping your seal heads wet and lubricated, but also helping to pull any debris that's trapped underneath the seal up and out of the fork or the shock seal itself. Simply by spraying onto the shock, working the suspension item through, and then cleaning off around the seal head is just going to help prevent anything being stuck just under that initial lip. You can also just using something soft, even your fingernail, just to pull back around that seal and just check that there's no dirt or grit trapped in that very first part of the seal head. This doesn't replace the fork service, but it will give that bike just that extra little bit of chance of not having anything that's just trapped beneath the seal of moving down and into the internal part of the fork. Another one that tends to get overlooked is a lot of people are just washing their bike down post-race, just trying to remove any of the mud and the dirt that's built up on the bike over the course of the stage. You need to try and make sure that you've released the water from within the frame. The easiest way to go about doing this is simply remove your seat post, turn the bike upside down, and just try and move the bike in such a manner that any water trapped inside the frame can move down and out of the seat post. What this prevents is water building up inside the frame and sitting at the bottom bracket area, which is going to in turn put water right on your bottom bracket bearings and it will literally rust them shut. So very, very simple removal of the seat post, flip the bike, juggle it around, and let any water that's sitting in there post-wash be removed. So using a luber pen, you can go around each of the individual nipples on your wheels and just drop that little bit of lube into the nipple. What this does, it helps just create that protective barrier between the nipple and the spoke head, and it'll hopefully break down any water that's sitting in that same space, which will stop the nipple from oxidizing. A lot of the time what ends up happening is it's not so much a short-term problem, but like down the track, when the nipple's dried out, when the wheel goes to be worked on for the next time, the nipple will just shear and just turn off the spoke head, meaning a complete replacement is required and leaving you unable to just true and tension your wheels as normal. In the cleanup after Port to Port, if you can pay particular attention to cleaning down your drivetrain, that's going to help remove any mud and anything else jammed into the drivetrain itself. So ideally you take the chain off, clean that separately, remove your cassette, clean the cogs separately, as well as look into cleaning the pulley wheels and making sure that you're re-lubing all of those items. And another thing is just making sure you clean off any of the mud jammed in around your front crankset as well. So it's just a complete degrease of all those items, preferably individually, is going to be a massive step towards getting your bike operational again. So we hope you found this video informative and it's given you that little bit of insight as to what you can do at home to just make sure that your bike makes it through to its next service without incurring any excess damage along the way. Congratulations once again to everyone that was part of Port to Port, and we hope your cleanup's going smoothly.